Hello, good evening. Welcome everybody to Wrestleview Post-Raw number 157. We have Victoria back.
Hey everyone.
It's been a while since we've seen Victoria.
It has been very sick.
Well,
not COVID.
Not COVID, but
Sick.
Well, nope, she's not sick anymore.
I'm not sick anymore. I'm here.
So here we go. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the show. Post-Raw number 157. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got the return of John Cena.
I made the return the same time John Cena returned.
You notice how she does that. That's classic Victoria. She's like the Hulk Hogan of podcast hosts. She disappears for a while and then comes back when something big happens.
Oh yeah, okay.
I see how it goes.
Okay, not at all.
Kinda, I think, right?
Well, thanks, Daniel.
Let's say hi to everybody in the chat room. I think this is what Victoria was saying thank you to Daniel for.
Yes.
I also think you're greater than Cena.
Oh, thank you.
Randy Torcola says that you have the Wrestleview version of the Brock contract. Like that. Goosey, I think, you know what? I think he's on to something here.
That definitely contributed to it.
Victoria was sick of having to watch this show every week. I get sick of it too. No, that is not true, Brett. She has never appeared at a Saudi show. Victoria has, honest to God, she's never even watched a single WWE show from Saudi Arabia.
I have not. Never. I stuck to it.
not ever. Not ever.
I literally stuck to that.
Daniel Shell, she's been here more than once a year, but yes. She's the Undertaker for sure. Quentin Walters. Oh my God, Victoria's back. Where have you been all my life?
I've been ill.
We have our dear friend Nafi Sadat. He's only here for Victoria's guest cameo.
Woo!
One if you really think about it, she only missed one show. Jerome, Big Jerome. Glad Victoria is feeling better and is back.
Hey everyone.
Oh my goodness gracious. All right.
Well, no, I can't do the eye roll like Taker.
Corey Howell, the Queen is back. Wow. You know I got nothing.
Nobody cares about you.
I have got nothing. I would settle for a Tony Khan hug right now. Anything. I think Tony Khan would appreciate me, maybe. Perhaps. Machine Walls, hello, Tedesco's and Peeps, hello.
I missed everybody.
Yes, we do. The Wrestleview fiend Andrew Elder. Speaking of Taker, tickets to his Dead Man show is $100. That's for standing room only, though. Man, oh man. Oh, this is just mean. This is just not right. It's just this is terrible behavior.
No, I mean, listen.
Well, finally. Thank you,
Corey. That is very true. That is actually very true.
Now, Jerome, I know how to keep everybody's personal space intact. Like, some of those pictures going around today, it was like, oh my God, like of Tony Khan like hugging Cesaro and hugging like a whole bunch of people. Like it was, I mean, like, look, the guy's passionate, he's excited about wrestling. I'm totally down for it, but like at first I saw like these pictures of like Cesaro hugging this person. I was like, is this like a Make-A-Wish thing? And then I realized it was Tony Khan. It's like, what is with the hugs? What's the hugs? I like, look, I wouldn't do well in professional wrestling. I don't like being touched by anybody.
He really does. You don't like your face being touched.
I don't like my face being touched. No. I don't like when people slap me on the shoulder. I don't like when people hug me.
You really don't like when people slap you on the shoulder?
Oh, I hate that.
Really? I didn't know that, actually.
I mean, I'll give out hugs, but like that, you know, like people that like will just like slam you on the back and like leave a hand.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
I like wrestling involves a lot of touching of your coworkers. It's like wrestling.
Yeah, that's true.
Another form of adult entertainment as well. Also involves touching your coworkers.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't do well with that. But then like out of the ring, you still have to be touched. I just wouldn't like it. I just wouldn't. I don't think I would. Well, this is Randy. Yeah, you know what? I like what Randy said here. I'm like, Mid 2000 Cena. I never miss a show, so my contributions are underappreciated. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Victoria is how you get ratings pops in this podcast. That's true.
It's true.
That's true. Well, yes, I know. Thank you, Quentin. Yes, I'm used to calling him Cesaro. It's gonna take a while. I'm like Jim Ross with the Daniel Bryan thing. You know, he can't.
He's
not
still
say
calling.
Daniel
Yeah.
Bryan,
Yeah.
even though it's Bryan Danielson,
Yeah.
which is actually his real name. Oh, Daniel. Oh, Daniel.
Oh.
Did you see that video?
I haven't
It's
been. I haven't been updated on a lot.
Rudy Giuliani's talking about how he was like assaulted, and this guy like literally just was like, "Hey, Rudy," tapped him on the shoulder, and he goes, "Oh, I flew forward 2 feet. I didn't fall." Blah, 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 blah.
Oh no, I didn't. I haven't been paying attention to a lot of stuff.
But then the security camera footage shows that he didn't even move. Like,
but probably
he's a very sick man.
No,
but
that's what I'm saying.
I think that Rudy Giuliani has syphilis. I really do believe it. How
how
many mistresses has that guy had? He has syphilis. There's something eating his brain.
Well, I genuinely believe that's he probably in his own head thought that happened.
I think he drinks his own pee. I don't know. Something off about that guy. You know what? It's the hair color. I think it's like permeated into a scalp.
Maybe, perhaps.
I
don't know
very, very
why, by any means, did this trail off into Rudy Giuliani at all. But
because Daniel said it, so now I had to talk about
it. God. Corey, did you see Corey's comment?
Yes, I did. Machine Walls Queen Tori is all elite. How about that? Well, Tony Khan would like to hug her. All right, everybody. Let's talk about this damn show here. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Man, actually, with Money in the Bank coming this Saturday, I have to say I kind of like these Saturday pay-per-views.
I do too.
Not all the time, but every now and then it's kind of nice.
Well, what's nice about it is
like you don't have to worry about getting up for. Well, I do. But nobody else.
Yeah,
does.
well, we have to worry about getting to work.
I do.
Yeah, no, I do too.
On Sunday. What are you talking about? It's your job on Sunday.
Oh, I meant no, like Sunday night and have Monday morning.
Yeah, yes. Well, I'm saying everybody else, normal people don't have to worry about getting up.
Oh, yeah, Sunday, no, usually. I get it.
But it actually kind of feels more like an event rather than just like, oh, it's a good way to cap off the weekend and then back to work tomorrow. It's like, oh, you can I don't know. It feels different when it's on a Saturday.
I agree.
And Money in the Bank, obviously, big show. They were going to have it in that Allegiant Stadium where they had SummerSlam last year, and that didn't work out. So they moved it to a smaller venue. But it's still, for the most part, a pretty well-built card. I'm actually really looking forward to both Money in the Bank ladder matches. And there's Street Profits versus the Usos. I am really excited to see what they can do after the Montez Ford Jey Uso match.
Yeah.
There's a couple things on this card that that really excite me. But before we get talking about all of that stuff, actually, last week we had a podcast, me, Roy Nemmer, and Mr. Jerome Weiland talking about the Vince McMahon story. I did Post-Raw last week by myself, and Victoria was not there.
Okay.
Because she was sick. But I know everybody's been wondering what Victoria thinks of this whole Vince McMahon controversy. He is not currently the WWE chairman or CEO. He is only the head of creative, but obviously, you look at tonight, it's like, obviously he's the one introducing John Cena. He's still the face of the company, in terms of leadership. But today, I had mentioned Rita Chatterton right away as a thing that this could really come back and haunt him. These things are going to be dug up as this investigation continues. And today, the Rita Chatterton story from 1986 made its way into the news. It's and not just on wrestling websites, but on
real platforms.
things.
Yeah.
A former WWF, I guess you could call him an enhancement talent, corroborated that Rita Chatterton's story is accurate because he remembers talking to her when it happened and her reaction after it had happened. She was shaking uncontrollably. Terrible, obviously terrible visual that was laid out on that. But Vince McMahon now has a corroborated alleged rape incident out there now, on top of, paying, paralegals, hundreds of thousands of dollars, in raises for sleeping with him and John Laurinaitis. Now this. So for them to march Vince McMahon out there tonight to introduce John Cena was just beyond the pale of disgusting from this company. Usually I know in the Wrestling Observer, they have those worst promotional tactics of the year. I think sending Vince McMahon out at this point will probably win for the year. I think that's a shoo-in to win for the year. Hours after a rape story is corroborated, I wouldn't be trotting the old man out there at all. But I gave my thoughts on it. I'll give more thoughts on the Vince McMahon thing in a little bit, but I wanted to get Victoria talking about her thoughts on the Vince McMahon controversy, not just today, but the whole entire thing.
Yeah. Well, I got to be honest with you. When I first heard about everything, it didn't entirely shock me, but that shouldn't necessarily be the case with any of this type of stuff. I feel like with any allegation that takes place, you have to take it seriously, and you have to listen. During this whole Me Too movement, it's been very hard as a woman, just because there are a lot of women who have been sexually assaulted and who have been, having finally the courage to report these individuals and the strength to, get justice for what was done to them. And then there are people who, unfortunately, took it too far and made false accusations and have ruined people's lives. I think in this case, though, I think it's very, very real. And I think it's very, very important to understand that a lot of what happened, yes, was then, but a lot of stuff was fairly recent as well. And they have to treat this like it was any other individual. So if any other individual in the company who was having allegations against them, I feel like that they would be a little bit more like, okay, let's get them let's not have them on TV. Let's investigate. Let's look into it more before we, have them have TV time and do whatever else. But they are making allowances for Vince McMahon simply because he's Vince McMahon, when these are serious allegations and these are serious things that I'm almost 100% these things happen to these women. So the fact that they're doing this is just a big old fuck you to not only the situation, but just to these women in general, just to women overall, not just these women who have these allegations, but just women in general. Like, you're basically saying you don't value what they have to say and you don't value them as individuals. You want to talk about how there was this whole women's revolution in WWE years ago,
stunt.
but they were late to the game on that, though, to begin with, right?
20 years late.
And then now
U.S. women's soccer has been like huge since like the 90s.
But I'm also disappointed, though.
Tennis.
I have to be honest with you, though.
Like acting like they just discovered that female athletes are worth a damn in 2015. It's like, you got it.
And I have to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed in the fans as well.
That is gross. Yes.
I think it's disgusting because I have to say, like, I see people in the chat right now and they are agreeing with us. Like, they are agreeing with us and are on this whole thing. And these people cheering for him, you're disgusting.
I want to say this.
You're disgusting.
It did make it into mainstream that like when they showed like the day after he stepped down and then he was out on SmackDown, when he came out and the fans were cheering and high-fiving him, like commentators on like cable news networks were like, it's really gross that these people are cheering. It's really gross.
It's disgusting.
People notice that.
Like it really, it's just because you want to believe because it's this individual who has brought so much entertainment to an industry.
But you know, like I will say this in defense of people. How do I say this nicely? People are idiots. They don't read anymore. They probably just looked at a headline, never read a single paragraph of that headline. That's what they do now. People think, oh, I read a headline, so I know what's going on.
But regardless, so if
most of the people that go there don't even care. But you know what? They shouldn't even put their fans in that kind of situation. It makes you feel cheap, you know, like you go home and then you read about the story or something. It's just not right. Like I don't think the majority of the people knew about the Rita Chatterton thing tonight, but
no, but just in general, like Daniel said, they've been cheering for legit 3 weeks.
Yes.
Anytime that he's been out there,
yes,
and
because they're presenting him like he's like some conquering hero that's thumbing his nose, and people like the anti-hero still in this day and age, you know.
It's gross. It's totally entirely gross, and it makes you just feel well. And you know what my problem is? I want to be able to be like, you know what? I don't even want to watch the show anymore because I want to like almost protest against this. That we can't. And the reason why I can't, because then I feel like I'm punishing the individuals who aren't doing anything wrong.
Hurt our marriage.
What happened?
You would hurt our marriage if we didn't.
Oh, shut up. But I'm just saying, you can't punish those group of individuals for what he did. You know, you can't allow yourself for kids not to be entertained, for adults not to be entertained, and for people in the company who are stand-up individuals who have a job, who want to watch, you know, and just want to watch wrestling and want to watch a show. You can't fault those people. Because I really thought about it, and I'm like, I don't even necessarily want to watch the show anymore if this is who they're standing behind. They're not taking it seriously.
Well, obviously not.
They really, and I don't really care who you are. If you're a disgusting individual, if you are doing those things, you have to separate the person who Vince McMahon was and your entertainer and your, you know, company. That doesn't matter. That's all out the window now. If he's did these things, he's a horrible, despicable human being.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel horrible for individuals who were falsely accused, you know, in the past. I don't think it's a situation like that. I don't think these are false accusations. And I think that these allegations are very real. And they're almost proving them to be real. They're almost justifying them to be real because he is just coming out there and being like, oh, yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah. It was really gross tonight. You know, I mean, like I said, not everybody's going to know about the Rita Chatterton thing, you know, being corroborated today. I think you have to be really deep into the wrestling insider bubble to even know about Rita Chatterton. You know, I only learned about it a few years ago. I remember I was watching like some Tuesday Night Titans thing, and they had Rita Chatterton on there, and I was like, oh, whatever happened to this person? Then I start reading a little bit, and I'm like, whoa, like rape allegations, and you know, she didn't do you know, a sexual favor for him, so she disappeared from the company. I was like, whoa, like that's a heavy duty thing. But then it's like, you know, you dismiss it. You allow it because it's just like, oh, well, that was the 1980s and that was, you know, everybody was a scum then. And, you know, that's just how wrestling is. Wrestling's different. But, you know, it's like, yeah, wrestling, you know, especially like this WWE upper management, it sounds like there's like a predatory culture that exists in that office. It's really terrible. But, you know, people won't know about that stuff. Maybe they'll start to know about it soon, but
I think Randy makes a good point, and I think that is up for discussion. He says, I want to bring this up for discussion. Are wrestling fans just too used to separating these characters from the actual people? Very well. I mean, that seems to be the case. I think a lot of people are just making allowance to be like, well, I'm not going to not be entertained by Vince McMahon because of these allegations. That's not the Vince that
that's not the Vince that I want to believe exists.
Correct.
But that very well might be. the guy. I had a point I wanted to say, and I can't remember it.
Sorry.
It's all right. It'll come back to me later. But
well, let's just segue into then.
Oh, anyway, so the sexual misconduct stories, it's just like, you kind of just like, write it off as just like, uh-oh, what is that? That's Liliana. Is she up?
She's just.
I think she's moaning.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like, it's so easy to just like dismiss it and like, oh, that's like the 80s and stuff like that. But then like you really think about some of the things that Vince McMahon has done like in the 1980s, like Jimmy Snuka, who, his daughter, I mean, you can't blame the daughter, you certainly can't take out, justice on her, but it's just kind of interesting that she was also in tonight's main event. Her father killed Nancy Argentina in, I think it was Allentown, Pennsylvania. Vince McMahon shows up that night with a suitcase full of cash and the charges disappear. A family is ripped apart because of the death of this young woman, and an unsolved murder we kind of know what happened with it. And Jimmy almost got face justice about it, but then he died. Like there's a lot of terrible things that he's done, including, forcing people to get, take steroids and, creating that whole entire culture that's led to a lot of early wrestler deaths. And I'm sorry, you do have to put some of those deaths on the doorstep of Vince McMahon, who, by all accounts in the 1980s and 1990s was handing out, steroids like they were candies. Like there's a lot of really shady things, and it's like, it's easy to dismiss it and just say, oh, well, that's just pro wrestling, it's different, but it's not. And these people need to be held accountable for how they behave. And I think that Randy is right that, a lot of people can't separate the character from the person anymore. And they want to root for Vince McMahon to overcome the bad guy in this case, and have Vince McMahon come out and give him a stone cold stunner or something like that, but like, these are real people that have been hurt. And today's is not a joke. We're talking about, sexual misconduct and non-disclosure agreements being handed around, and millions of dollars being paid out in hush money. And did that money come from the company? Did it not? I mean, he was giving her raises for sleeping with him. That was certainly company money. How does that factor into this whole entire thing? But then, we you have to assume, it'd be, negligent to just say like, oh, he was raping all these people and, then making them sign hush money. That obviously cannot be true. There is a power imbalance. So that does, upset the balance of power in the relationship. So you can bring that into, but I don't think he's forcing himself on it. But this story is, it was only Rita Chatterton that had said it. And then now today it has been corroborated that he's accused of raping this woman. He should not have been on tonight's show. I don't care how few people knew about it. They're going to know about it. And and if you have a conscience, you should feel pretty dirty about it. Like this happened on television tonight. I felt really I thought it was just so gross, like seeing him on my television tonight. And John Cena, who, is a great man, just a great man, wonderful dude, probably like him and Mick Foley are number one of the nicest guys in professional wrestling, probably professional wrestling history. He's a man that has made the transition to Hollywood. I would call him an A-list actor. He's certainly in big movies. And he's starting to get his own starring vehicles and things like that. Like the Peacemaker thing really blew up, and it was, like people love that. For his career, I wouldn't want any of the stink of Vince McMahon around me. Yeah, he's going to do the shows. He loves WWE and he loves the fans, and he's going to do these shows. But Vince McMahon should not have been the one to introduce him. And John Cena probably should have pushed for that not to happen. If not him, then his agent should have just said, I don't want you anywhere on screen saying his name. Nowhere. It's toxic.
That was the first thing I said well, besides the fact that when Vince McMahon came out, I was just wanted to throw up. But him introducing John Cena, I'm like, that was a really bad move.
It's just the optics are horrible.
And it's
And
not that
the optics, you know, like, if you think about it, like his Titantron used to say Mr. McMahon, and then like it would like switch to say WWE chairman, and then it would switch back to Vince McMahon. Now it only says Mr. McMahon, because he's not the chairman. So at least they edited that. But the way that, but if you didn't know that, that you wouldn't have known at all that he stepped down. If you didn't notice his Titantron had changed, you would know nothing that he stepped down, and that this man is coming out. He's the leader of the company. You know, it's like, but he's not. You know, in the board's eyes and in Wall Street's eyes. But that's how they presented him tonight.
And Vince and
The optics
sorry,
are horrible here.
and John Cena doesn't owe Vince anything.
No.
You know, he doesn't owe him to be like, oh, you know what, John, like I made you, like, you know, if you don't come out here tonight, and, you know, like at this point, Cena has way more power in Hollywood. He's beyond WWE. Really, he's doing them a freaking favor coming back in and just, you know, making an appearance. But really, he doesn't know him anything. Like I said, if I were Cena, I personally would have been like, I don't want you anywhere near me. I don't want you introducing me. I don't want us within even seeing 5 minutes of each other.
See, this is giving it a pass. This is saying, well, the fans are okay with it, so that's why they keep doing it. It's not the fans who are, who drive this company and what they should be doing. They should be worried about their shareholders. They should be worried about investors in this company. They should be worried about their board of directors. And he's just giving the finger to all these people.
Everyone.
You know, yeah, the fans are stupid enough to let it pass, because we've just talked for a while about how they can't separate fact from fiction. You know, and it's hard because that's that's just how wrestling. Like we just know them in their kayfabe personalities, not like the people. You know, you have to wait for like the shoot interviews later on after the careers are over for that to happen. But yeah, okay, so they keep pulling the wool over the fans' eyes, but not Wall Street, not their shareholders, not their board of directors. That's who they should be freaking worrying about. But then again, this is also a company that goes to Saudi Arabia once or twice a year. So, but the Saudi crown prince is not their CEO and chairman. That's the difference. Anyway, it kind of overshadowed the John Cena thing for me. Even though I thought Cena's speech was great, he really, you could just feel the passion. You could feel the love. And there was something, it's like just kind of ironic, or I don't know if ironic is the right word, but it's just super interesting that, like, when Cena was around full time, it was the "Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks" chants and all that stuff. And they, constantly being razzed, unappreciated. And then he goes away, and so does that star power. And it never came back. Roman Reigns is doing great things. And yeah, when he comes out, he gets like a next level response, but not like John Cena.
Well, Reigns,
not like that.
Roman Reigns too. It was a lot of backlash for a long time.
Yes.
So
and
was
then
it?
And then they finally turned him heel after all that fighting, years and years of that.
But yeah, no, I mean, I agree 100%. I was one of those people that was like, oh, John Cena, like, oh, he's out again, like, whatever. But then there was this like lack of this presence that was there, because no matter what.
Yeah, Daniel's right. Daniel Bryan for a hot minute,
and then they put the kibosh on that.
They blew it, and then he also got injuries. He was in.
Yeah, absolutely. But for John Cena, you love him, you hate him.
No, I don't think anybody hates him now.
No, but in general, like that's just his. No matter what, he was always going to get a reaction. No matter it didn't matter. Like, I don't think I've ever seen John Cena come out and then there'd just be like silent. Nobody was interested. People were going to the bathroom. Like, nobody cared. I personally have never seen it. I'm not saying maybe back when he first started and things like that, but like true John Cena form, like in his peak and in his
even in
after.
his peak when they were booing him, it was like that was his like next level. You know,
Exactly.
like everything. You know,
you either wanted to hate him, or you had
man,
everybody who loved him, or you had everybody who
you know,
hated
but
him.
like, you know, like there was something, you know, nostalgic about it. You know, really, like, you know, he does come off as like such a legend, and you know, the fans really were excited to see him. I was excited to see him too. You know, like just listening to his
Same.
speech, I was just like, man, you know. And then it's like I didn't. You don't know it. You don't know you're in the good old days until they are the old days. But there hasn't been anybody like him since.
So people mentioned in the chat,
and part of that is because they screwed up and squandered anybody who started to come up, and you know, like it's part an indictment on them that they haven't been able to create a new star since 2004, 2005. You could argue whenever Cena came big like that, but a guy that transcends and stuff like that, like Roman Reigns started getting hot. Now he's going to be taking a more part-time role in the company. So now again, we're left with people that aren't like even at superstar levels. Interesting.
well,
Sad.
what's funny is if people are mentioning certain people, you know, in the chat about certain individuals, they definitely had the star quality. It's not that they didn't have star quality, but that sustainability. It's that like maintaining. It's always been like that.
Well, they squandered it. Like,
yeah,
like everybody that they mentioned either was injuries and they squandered it. Like, well, Bryan Danielson, he was injured, but they also squandered everything about him. Punk squandered. You know, he like after that summer of Punk, he was losing in September to Triple H. It's like, what are we doing here?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So there was just this longevity to it, though, with John Cena that hasn't been achieved.
That too. More than 650 Make-A-Wishes. That is something. He's a great guy.
I mean, kids still want to see him,
right?
Like kids still, even though
wishes today,
even though
he granted wishes today,
even though he's not like he hasn't been wrestling and he hasn't been here, there are still kids who come to shows full on John Cena gear, signs, hoping that he comes out.
We've seen it, yeah.
You know, that impact, you can't beat that. You can't.
I agree. And obviously he did say, I'm going to be wrestling again. I don't know when the next time you're going to see me, blah, blah, blah. But obviously he's going to be on SummerSlam against Austin Theory. Or should I say Theory? They had a really good interaction backstage, and John Cena didn't say a word. It was just Theory doing all the talking. I loved the confidence from Theory. He looked and sounded great in that the entire time. Guys, he's going to be a hell of a promo. He already is starting to get that. But man, like he laid down like a 24-year-old guy coming up to John Cena, the legend, and laying down the groundwork for a SummerSlam match.
Yeah.
That's I was really impressed with Theory on that one.
It looked strong. It looked like he just had a purpose, and it looked real. Like it didn't look, disingenuine whatsoever.
Yeah. We had to say hello to Elijah Punk. And that Cena Seth Rollins segment was pretty damn funny. I do have to say, when he was laughing Cena's theme song, ha 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 ha, I was like, wow. I mean, that's just that was something. But I would like to see Rollins and Cena one more time because they always had great matches. Always. Seth Rollins just consistently year in, year out has been phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal. But John Cena versus Theory. But this is again, it's like we might look back on this and say, well, they Theory was starting to get some steam, and then they fed him to Cena at SummerSlam, and then squandered everything about.
We'll have to wait and see, I guess, right?
But he's been, he doesn't need the Vince McMahon thing anymore. They've certainly written that away. They haven't done much of that since.
They should,
no doubt about it. But he's got the ability and the promo to stand on his own and really become something. I really think he's going to become something at some point. Really, really impressive stuff there. There was another. Oh, and speaking of squandered talents, they did right a wrong tonight. In the first segment of the show, we had a battle royal.
Yes.
Riddle has gotten into the Money in the Bank ladder match. Certainly makes it interesting now. I think it's down to either Seth Rollins or Riddle. I mean, but I think Sami Zayn could be a dark horse in this one as well.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like, man, you know, they had Riddle face Roman Reigns on that SmackDown in a great main event, and he lost. And it's always like, oh, Mike, let it play out. Oh, let's all the follow up. And the follow up was he got squashed by Omos, and then Seth Rollins came out and gave him the stomp. Dead. And then the SmackDown ratings came out for that SmackDown where he faced Roman Reigns. And yes, it was skewed a bit by Vince McMahon coming out, you know, hours after his stepping down. It's like everything. This guy's a dick. And the main event, they stayed for the main event because Vince was out for 30 seconds and he was gone, or really it was 48. But no, it wasn't planned, Brad. It obviously was not planned because the ratings came out and all of a sudden they do an about face. Oh my God, Riddle is making people interested. Yes, Roman Reigns coming back after being away for a little bit was certainly helps, but people believed in Riddle. People thought Riddle was going to win the title on that Friday night. People that don't overreact to things, I thought it was going to happen because he was that hot and they didn't do it. But the numbers showed that people stuck around to watch that main event. And then all of a sudden they do an about face. And, you know, after getting demolished last week, he looks great this week. He looks really, really great this week. Strong, big eliminations, wins the Battle Royal. He's going to be in the Money in the Bank.
I think everyone's a little surprised that I was excited for Riddle to win tonight.
You're not a big Riddle fan.
No, because it was up like he was in the final two with the Miz. So I think everyone was like, "Oh, shouldn't you want the Miz to win?" No, I am a Riddle fan. I have grown. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't a big fan of him in the beginning, but he's evolved into. Even though he's like this, yeah, bro. Like even though that's like whole shtick, I'm into it now.
Well, they kind of got like they finally started giving him promos with substance.
Yeah, and that's what he needed.
And he's got kind of like that like childish delivery.
Yeah,
you know, because they built him up as just like the stoner guy.
That's the thing. I like
when he's like, Randy, this is for you, broski.
Yeah, I like aloof. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I also I do.
But you want some energy.
I want some energy, and he definitely has a good now. Didn't then, but has a good balance between that comedic role and that, you know, wrestling role where because he's a good talent in the ring, obviously.
He's awesome.
So they just had to have everything mesh together, which now it is meshing together the way it should be. Yeah. No, I was excited for him. And after because of these past few weeks, I'm like, no, like come on. And you know what?
I'm not 100% sure he'll win Money in the Bank, but
no, maybe not.
You know, just the follow up of him getting squashed by Omos and the curb stomp was just like, what?
Yeah.
Are we doing?
Yeah. Here? Well, especially since like because obviously the whole Randy Orton thing wasn't planned, right. You know, for his injury to take place. So you took that away. I know that they were kind of going to be weaning that out, right? Like they were going to be ending their tag team, but still, like that was almost a given. Like if the two of them were together, then it was fine. Like they kind of had mostly Riddle had Orton to kind of like fall back on if things were kind of whatever. But now that he has to be in a single individual competing, this was actually, it's good for him to get that momentum and to be able to look strong.
Yep. Quentin Walters doing our work for us here. If you're new, please subscribe, like, and share this awesome podcast. Also, check out the Wrestleview website and all the social media and join in on the conversation. Thank you. Indeed. Thank you. All right. So Daniel Shell also brings up a good point too about there were some.
Wow, you agree with Daniel?
Oh, he brought up a good point. I did mean to mention it, but then we started talking about freaking Vince McMahon. But there was a little bit of an AEW invasion on Raw tonight with some video packages of people praising John Cena. You know, they had the usuals like, you know, the legends like Shawn Michaels, Triple H. They even had our new chairwoman and CEO, Stephanie McMahon, saying nice things about him. But there were other people included in this that were really surprising, like Paul White, now formerly known as The Big Show, appeared in a video. He's with AEW right now. Bryan Danielson, who was the former Daniel Bryan, appeared to put over John Cena in a video package. They also had Chris Jericho come out on a video package to talk about John Cena. I thought that was really interesting, that they were able to pull those names off, and that even though they're with another company, that WWE allowed them to be featured in, and that they even reached out to them and put them on their television show. I thought that was absolutely interesting. I don't know what it means. I mean, I think I'm letting my imagination run away with me a little bit because of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view last night. And has another Forbidden Door been opened? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be an AEW WWE joint pay-per-view ever happening, ever, unless WWE bought AEW or vice versa. But I just thought, I don't know. I thought that was like, I remember when they first started bringing people in from, or like even mentioning that Impact was a thing, like when they made the deal with, to get like Kurt, some stuff for Kurt Angle's video packages, I think, or something like that. And then even like bringing out Mickie James at the Royal Rumble this year with the Impact women's championship or whatever, knockouts. I don't know what the hell they call their stuff, but I was like, like that was a big deal. Like, oh, I remember one time Christian appeared on, an Impact or TNA pay-per-view at the time because they let Ric Flair appear at the WWE Hall of Fame to be inducted as the Four Horsemen. So is there a little bit of a deal going on with AEW and WWE just to, even if it's just like, video exchange or something like that? I don't know. I'd be interested to find out, but it was, I was definitely taken aback when I saw Daniel Bryan and the Big Show and Chris Jericho. Pretty amazing, pretty interesting. But they never mentioned anything about AEW. They never said those three letters. So I shouldn't read too much into it. But yes, Daniel, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. All right. Let's continue talking about the show. We got this excellent match with Jey Uso and Montez Ford. Main event, Jey versus Montez Ford. Absolutely. And, when he was on the Stone Cold Sessions as an AEW superstar, it seemed like that was the end of that. Like they didn't do any more of that stuff. So it's just interesting to see it make a comeback. I thought I was intrigued, at least. Man, this match with Montez Ford and Jey Uso, it was awesome. I can't think of any other way to put it. Just I thought everything was crisp. I thought they really meshed well together. And I don't think that Jey Uso did have a time when Jimmy was gone, as like a main event guy. They call him main event Jey Uso for a reason. But I don't know if they'll ever if either of them will ever reach it. But like Montez Ford absolutely should. The guy has superstar written all over him. The athletic ability is unreal, absolutely unreal. I almost felt like we're getting a glimpse into the future watching the match. I almost felt we were getting a glimpse into the future because it was that good.
This match was incredible.
Yeah,
it really was.
I loved everything about it.
I honestly, I very much enjoyed going for the why am I blanking out? Battle Royal.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the Battle Royal. That match overall,
thought it was Battle Royals. I
just thought it was entertaining. Like sometimes they could drag out, and certain spots really I could do away with. But this one I really liked, and then it went into this match. I was really excited because I was like, wow, we're getting just some really good wrestling, and just the first hour, which sometimes doesn't even happen. Sometimes you don't even get a match until like 45 minutes into the show, right, depending upon what time they really really, really delivered in their match tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. You know, and that frog splash, you know, somebody had said earlier tonight, I forget who, but that Montez Ford's frog splash might be the best frog splash of all time. Like I still think Eddie Guerrero's was like picture perfect perfection, but in terms of like an athletic frog splash, you know, like everybody used to like really go crazy over Rob Van Dam's 5-star frog splash, but this is like 10 stars. It's out of control.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of control. He almost hit the briefcase as he jumped so high tonight. It's like it's insane.
You just wonder how somebody can like get that much air.
And Corey's saying that Ford is more of a star than Dawkins, but I don't want to sleep on Dawkins either because that guy is also insanely athletic.
They're one of those tag teams that honestly, you're not looking at one of them and you're going like, oh, well, that one's significantly better than the other one.
There's no Jannetty. There's no Marty Jannetty in this tag
there's
team.
not at all. At all. It really, there's a lot of athleticism. There's a lot of charisma with both of them. They both have it. They both have that special something.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and speaking of, athletic spots, you know, that spot with Ricochet and T-Bar in the Battle Royal was ridiculous.
Oh.
The balance and the insane bump that T-Bar took, a flipping back bump off the apron to the floor as a big man at like 6'6" or whatever he is. That's a nasty bump. But just the athletic ability of Ricochet to hit that head scissor takeover on the apron, hold on, find the ropes, not eliminate himself. By the way, there was definitely a botched spot in that Battle Royal with Dominic Mysterio, who really has had nothing but problems on the main roster lately.
For sure.
He charged at Dolph Ziggler. Number one, Ziggler was way too far away from the ropes, so he had to like clothesline him back into the ropes. And then they were supposed to go over, and I think I don't know if they're both supposed to hang on and get into like a kicking match until somebody gets eliminated.
Yeah.
But Dominic lost his grip and was just eliminated, and then Dolph was like, okay, back in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, that was, you know, it's like you have this beauty of this unbelievable head scissors spot with Ricochet and T-Bar, and then Dom.
Listen, everyone knows Ricochet and T-Bar are not my favorite individuals. That was one hell of a spot. It really was. Yeah. I 100% agree with you.
Why not him?
Why not him? I do genuinely agree with you because we both looked at each other. I'm like, that didn't seem like that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, it just didn't look right. It didn't look right. Yeah, I have to agree with Elia that Dominic needs to be in NXT.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Dominic was not related to Rey Mysterio, I don't even think he's in NXT. I don't think he's on the roster, period.
Not in this current state.
He might be a guy that appears on AEW Dark. You know, it's just like getting a chance, you know, just to like get a taste of like some big time and then go right back to the indies. And I like, he doesn't, you know, like I want to give him a chance, you know, like in 2020, I was definitely singing his praises because he had a lot of poise, you know, really honestly having one of his first major matches ever, you know, at SummerSlam.
Well, he was thrown into it a little bit.
He was thrown into it, but you know, and he's got to like kind of learn on the fly, but it's just not working out now. Now he's kind of stagnated. I'm not seeing any like real growth in his performance. I'm not seeing any charisma popping through. And part of that's just bad storytelling and that they've been killing the Mysterios, but I'm not really seeing it.
I have a question for you though. And this is actually for,
he really needs to put a mask on.
And this is actually for everybody.
Because Rey Mysterio without the mask is like, oh, but here, wear this.
Oh, come on.
I'm not saying that he's ugly. but I'm like, that's not.
No, but
like,
it makes her
like a superstar.
It makes them. Yes, it makes them. It gives him
the edge.
Yes, it gives him that mystique. It gives him that edge for sure. And I agree with you.
Like the big goofy. Get lost. I don't want to see your face.
Oh my gosh.
Cover it up. I don't want to see his face.
Okay, so I have a question for everybody. Do you think certain individuals, because they are related to who they are related to, do rely on that? Because I don't know, obviously, any of these people like personally. Do you think Dominic relies on the fact that, like, oh, my father's Rey Mysterio, so I don't really have to do anything? Or do you think it drives him to do more? Or do you think it's just like a lack of like effort now? And this is just in general for any
third generation, second, third generation performers, and in any type of professional sport are rare. It's like, okay, let's just use my family as an example. My grandfather was honestly a phenomenal piano player. He was an accomplished accordionist. He played with Tiny Tim, the ukulele player, as part of his road band, and was instrumental in organizing all of the arrangements, for all of the concerts that Tiny Tim would do in the 1950s and 60s. Not one of his children got the bug or had any of the talent that he did to be musicians. It's not a guarantee that just because maybe they wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like nepotism.
My uncle definitely took some lessons and tried to be a bass player and tried to do some bands in the 1970s, but he wasn't. Not everybody has the like that skill doesn't always translate over. In this case, thank God, skipped a generation. I got it, but Dom might have already peaked. He might have already reached the ceiling of what he can accomplish, and still what he accomplishes is high class. He's not embarrassing himself in the ring for the most part, but there are some issues with Dom, and I don't think they're going to get any better. Learning on the fly anymore. I think he's peaked at that. I just don't see it.
All right, so different opinions here. Daniel says that Dom sucks, but it does help that he's Ray's kid. Andrew Elder says, I think Dominic is lazy, to be honest, and really doesn't want to be there. Randy Torcola says some people can work as hard as they want and they just don't have it. Quentin says that Dominic is just terrible. Enough said. And then let's see here.
Randy says, I don't know if he's lazy or not. He might just not have the skill set or personality to do this at a high level. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think that he's not trying.
Brett says,
I think he's working hard, and he gets so few opportunities to really show anything because he's just getting squashed by Veer and stuff like that. He gets so few opportunities that it's hard to even show anything. But I don't think that there's much there.
Brett thinks the issue with Dom is WWE, maybe Ray, something him. He needs to be his own person, separate from Ray. Charlotte took off bigger once she became her own person, and like The Rock
but Charlotte Flair and Dominic Mysterio, man, those are two different ones.
No, but I get what he's saying though. Like if you're your own.
I mean, Ric Flair is a huge personality.
Yeah,
huge, and yes, Rey Mysterio is a humongous legend. But I think if Dom was on his own, I don't like I said, if he was on his own, if he wasn't a Mysterio, he's not on this roster. He's not. I don't think he's on the company roster.
Elias says, we thought Bad Bunny, Logan Paul will never be decent. They will be like 2 or 3 moves and that's it. But boom, what we saw them both do at Mania, and they nailed it. So they think that Dom can make it too. You never know. I mean, honestly, it's
look. He wasn't bad at WrestleMania. I thought he had a good performance. He got a chance to in the ring he's fine, but in this company that's not enough to carry you. That's what I'm saying. I he does a few things really well, but a lot of rehearsed things look very, very good, but there's no charisma there. There's no character. There's, and there's, other than doing a few flashy spots, there's not really much in terms of the way the match is built either that I'm really seeing.
I get it.
So that's the case there. All right, moving right along. The Miz versus AJ Styles. They're trying to get this tiny balls thing over, and it's just not working. And you can tell that that's just Vince McMahon in the writer's room, loving talking about balls for whatever reason, and he really wants to get that over. And they've tried it now, I think 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and no one wants to chant it. No one's even attempting to chant it. They're making Miz act like he's being tormented by this and that people are chanting it loudly and they're not.
He's even trying on TikTok.
It's really, really cringy. It's super cringy. It's not funny.
Well, let's just put it this way. It would have been funny if it took off. Like if people really were genuinely screaming about it, and it'd be funny. But no one is laughing because I think we're very much past that type of humor.
Yeah, well, this is, when you have a 76-year-old who likes poop jokes, like this is what you get. This is he defaults to like stupid, and whatever. But I thought the Miz and AJ Styles had a really good match tonight.
I thought they had a great
really
match.
good match.
I really genuinely did. I thought they both pulled their own. I thought I don't think. Because, a lot of people would say oh, well, AJ is significantly better technically. And I'm not disagreeing with them necessarily.
AJ Styles did pull a great match out of the Miz.
But
he elevates
exactly.
He elevates everybody he's in the ring with. But
he definitely
Miz had to step up. He did it. There was one clunky spot where, he whipped Miz in the ropes and Miz lost his grip and this and that. But for the most part, it was kind of flawless.
I think it was a solid match. I really do.
Really solid match. I'm wondering how AJ Styles got busted open.
I was trying to think about that too. If anybody has any inclination,
I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
I didn't have time to rewind it and try to identify the spot, but it definitely happened towards the end of the match.
How many commercial breaks were there during the match?
There's one.
One?
I think there was only one commercial break.
And I don't think it happened during commercial break.
No. It was towards the end of the match. I definitely would have noticed that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, Miz walks off. AJ Styles wins by count out. But, really, sometimes, I don't think, I don't think that blading should ever make a comeback. It is kind of strange and barbaric to take a razor blade and just slash your face. But man, when AJ Styles was screaming at him to get back in the ring and this and that,
with blood on it, it makes it
face,
more. Yeah,
I was like, wow, this
yeah,
is
it's definitely an impact.
Super intense. Mm-hmm. And I think, as barbaric as it is, used sparingly, it's effective. But this is a company where it's oh well, we're a publicly traded company and we can't be telling our performers to take razor blades and cut their heads. That's just barbaric. But sending out 76-year-old Vince McMahon, hours after a corroborated rape story is totally fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Only when it benefits certain individuals.
U.S. journalists getting their heads cut off in Saudi Arabia and his bodies dissolved in acid is totally fine.
Well, it's just Brock Lesnar can cut his head open if he wanted to, but a random person, a random Joe Schmo in the company can't do that.
Yeah.
Without getting, in trouble. So
yeah. But anyway, yeah. But that blood really definitely made it intense. And Brett Farmer actually it makes a good point too, that was a good way to have a count out. Obviously the count out finish was planned, but it him coming out with the blood on his face is, and the Miz backing away makes it look like Miz is just terrified. This guy, you can't stop him. You can't keep him down. I gotta get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
It was really effective for that angle. And honestly, it made me want to see the match again.
Yeah.
So happy little accident there. I really like the, I already talked about the Theory, John Cena thing, but him with, giving this, milk toast, advice to some WWE wrestlers tonight was just great. Never forget who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, never give up, Street Profits. It's I love the little John Cena using his catchphrase and everybody just
everyone eating it up. Yeah.
All right. Now Montez Ford had an excellent match against Jey Uso. But his significant other, Bianca Belair, who for a long time was head and shoulders above where Montez Ford was in terms of popularity and everything, has really, really been struggling since WrestleMania. When they when they finally found the right formula to get her back over. She has had hardly any matches on television. Whatever she's had has been rushed or just goofy finishes or whatever. But for the most part, she's just been coming out and doing and she's not injured because she's wrestling on the house shows. So they have her come out and do these awful promos.
So I was going to ask you, was she injured or I guess not?
To be ready. I'm the best. She's zero momentum. No one cares when she comes out. I'm not gonna. Then I know somebody's gonna say, "Oh, but Mike, there are some people that do care." Okay, sure. There's some.
Of
There might
course
be
there
some,
is.
but
There's some people who
in terms
care
of the
when a random
reaction that
person
she
comes
was
out too.
getting a couple months ago to now, way low, way down, way down. She's a total afterthought in the women's division. You know, partly yes. Some of it could be that the women's division is locked up. Well, definitely lackluster, but locked up in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and that's like almost the entire women's roster. But she had this amazing match at Hell in a Cell that kind of that could have definitely brought some momentum back to her, and then there was no follow up with it really.
I know.
Like Becky Lynch was the big story coming out of that match, not Bianca Belair.
It just makes me so mad
because it's just frustrating to watch because she was red hot when they gave her the title in 2021 against Sasha Banks. Like, such an awesome WrestleMania main event. And then the follow-up was really awful. And then they killed all of her momentum with the 30-second thing. I know they were like, oh, we're going to rebuild her. It's going to be bigger than ever. And it wasn't. She still had a great match at WrestleMania against Becky Lynch. She had the great match, but it wasn't like the year before. And the momentum died off pretty quickly after that with some just poor promos, poor scripted promos, and really lack of anything. Like, Bianca Belair's best assets are like, a quick promo and, doing some athletic stuff. Like, I don't care. I know we've seen her, put Dewdrop in the KOD a whole bunch of times. So where it's, kind of like law of diminishing returns, where it's like, it gets less impressive each time you see it, but still have her do that. Have her face Tamina, somebody bigger than her, and have her power her around, like show why she's the best, instead of having her just talk about it. It's like almost heel the way they're booking her, where the heel does nothing and they keep talking about how they're the best.
I agree with Brett 100% on this because it's exactly what I was going to say. He says, honestly, it's a death sentence for young stars to get the big title win at Mania.
Yeah.
Listen.
I don't agree that WrestleMania is the problem. I think that Money in the Bank is partly to blame. That's what I was saying before, that the entire roster, their limited, depleted roster, and now you remove Naomi and Sasha Banks from that too. It's even worse.
But here, I'm going to add something to it, though. I think sometimes the title is actually a curse with individuals because they think that, if I just give them the title, that they'll just automatically have the momentum. And in theory, it should.
Largely how they treated the Intercontinental and U.S. titles.
In theory, it should, right? Like, it's a big thing.
We can beat them all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't even put her in matches.
Right. But the problem that I have, though, is that only works for certain people. You can't just put a title on somebody and then expect to magically just have all this, attention and heat and momentum. A title doesn't automatically give that.
Yeah.
You have to give attention to the story. You have to give attention to the person. You have to give attention to the individual in order to maintain that. You still have to look at that character and look at how you're going to develop it. Just because you put the title on them doesn't automatically mean that we don't have to do anything else now.
Yeah.
You have to keep that. And they do that a lot with certain people. They just don't care.
Well, I think that they're just like, well, we put all this momentum into her that she can sustain, doing nothing with her, but she can't.
No, she can't.
Elia thinks that a feud with Alexa Bliss might help Bianca, but I don't think so. And I gotta say, because and it's kind of a good segue because she's in the next match with Liv Morgan. Alexa Bliss has looked awful at times and rusty, at her best so far since she's come back. Theme song, the whole change in character. The best thing about it is that they dumped the Fiend crap from her. But now she's like in this limbo of having almost no character. She's got aspects of the Fiend character that made them money, because at the end of the day, they're a merchandising company. The Lily doll, some of the the whatever accessories that they also sell with her, gloves and hair ties or whatever. but she's not doing all that magic hocus pocus stuff and not even acting like all that, So she's kind of in this limbo of having no character whatsoever. And on top of that, she's having poor matches. Like really, she had the squash match against Sonya Deville. Where's Sonya Deville? Why are they not utilizing her? I don't understand that at all. But Alexa Bliss has just not looked good at all. And tonight's Liv Morgan match was just bad.
I know why they are not using Sonya right now. She's a lot of events going on right now.
Okay.
No, she has been. I'm just saying she's a lot of.
John Cena. I know. I already know the events you're talking about. John Cena was filming a movie, and in 2012, you and I were at a SmackDown, and he flew all the way from across the country to come to Newark, New Jersey to have a dark match.
Cena, though.
I think it should be expected of any superstar.
I don't think any superstar's going to do that.
I just think they're not using her. For
that could be it too, but I'm just saying she's a lot of events.
She was okay, so she's briefly on SmackDown, but she needs to be on Raw, and there needs to be follow up with her losing her WWE official thing. She should be on the thing on the show crying every week or whatever. Yeah, they have. Well, they can tout her as a SmackDown superstar, but the lines are blurred now that we had a bunch of SmackDown superstars on Raw tonight.
Right.
Where's Sonya Deville? There's no reason to not be using her. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, but Alexa Bliss doesn't look good. Maybe her getting something to sink her teeth into with a feud against Bianca Belair could do wonders for her, but I don't know. We'll see. Bobby Lashley beat the Alpha Academy in a 2-on-1 handicap match with Theory as the guest enforcer. Bobby Lashley's over, man.
As he should be.
Really, really good stuff. I'm interested to see what they do on a Sunday. I'm sorry, Saturday with him and Theory. I'm very interested to see how that goes, because I wouldn't beat Lashley, but I wouldn't beat Theory either, especially if he's going for John Cena. We'll see. They had a quick little Cody Rhodes thing. It's good to see him, and I like that they're at least following up on him, because he is going to be their big guy when he comes back. I think Royal Rumble time would be a great time to bring him back, because he keeps saying, 9 months, but we all know that that's probably a 5 to 6 month injury, and that'll put him right in turn for Royal Rumble. Then he gets to come back as, Cody's superhero. He was only gone for 6 months, and they said he'd be gone for 9, even though,
Yeah, we know it's planned.
We had a last chance elimination match as our main event. Becky Lynch, Doudrop, Nikki Ash, Xia Li, Shayna Baszler, and Tamina. Winner gets into the Money in the Bank ladder match. This was won by Becky Lynch. Started off good, but of course, as has been happening lately, the plague of women's main event matches on Raw has been they've just been having horrible matches that are given almost no time. They constantly, run out of time. Like Becky Lynch will make her entrance at 10:30 and the match won't start until 10:48. Like this elimination match started at like 10:45. You have all these women in it, that they need to get to their spots to eliminate each other, and it's like 10:58. And there's still 2 eliminations left to go. And the referee, if you go back and watch it, you will see that he tells him, you got to hurry up. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, 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 big, elbow drop, elimination. Run over, get Becky Lynch, get her back in the ring. We got to go through our spot. Get her. And manhandle Sam off the second rope. Becky Lynch wins. And it's like, okay, great. Becky Lynch is in Money in the Bank. We'll see you on Saturday.
That's got to be so nerve-wracking.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch.
Yeah. But it has to be so nerve-wracking if you're actually in the ring and you're on that legitimate time crunch.
Oh, I know.
I don't know how they do it. I have to give them a lot of credit, because they are put in situations like that a lot. And to make it work in that short amount of time. And then and then people will criticize. It's like, well, give them a decent amount of time and then maybe it will be better.
Yeah. But, I do see a couple people have asked, like, what happened to the Kevin Owens Elias / Ezekiel / Elrod match. It was apparently something happened with Kevin Owens. I don't know. I mean, he Brett says he put out a tweet that says he didn't go tonight to Raw because it was in Texas. But I don't know if it's like a family thing, a visa thing, or whatever it is. But he was not at Raw tonight. He could not appear on the show.
Exactly, Randy. So. It's a 3-hour show and you can't give 6 women like 20 minutes.
I know. Well, you have to think, like, on this show, what could have been cut, in order to just make sure that the main event gets a little extra time to breathe. There was a lot on this show tonight. I don't know specifically what could have been cut. Probably
Liv Morgan. Yeah, because if it's a women's main event,
it had no.
You don't need to have that.
No stipulations involved for it. It was just like a match just to have a match, just to get them on the show.
We had other matches that were just significantly just so much better and were really, really good. You didn't need that one.
Or even like the Battle Royal. Did it need to go through 2 commercials?
Yes, Andrew definitely could have just that in general.
Cut Vince. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. That would have given them at least, 20 more seconds, because he ran. Yeah. I actually, you always wonder like how they do that sometimes, where they have somebody like introduce and then like, the person gets the ring and that other person's gone. You actually see Vince McMahon, if you go back and watch the John Cena segment, as he makes his entrance, they pan out in the arena and you see Vince get out of the ring and actually start running.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But it is what it is, like on a show like tonight, it is hard to pick something, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan. I know that match was sponsored by that new Despicable Me movie. So they probably had to do something with that, but I don't know. But there's no excuse for weeks prior when it was like Becky Lynch and Asuka and they were just showing a million video packages. Like there's no reason for that. Anyway, that was Raw. What did everybody think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Give us your thoughts. Victoria, let's start with you. What did you think of this show? Would you give it a thumbs up?
I will give it a thumbs up. Cena, just him being there.
Yeah, I know.
And the Uso Montez Ford match, amazing.
That was a really
and Riddle winning the Rumble. Sorry, Riddle winning the Battle Royal.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I have to give it a thumbs up. Like we talked a lot about the Vince McMahon thing tonight, but there was a lot of great stuff on the show. Riddle winning the Battle Royal, the Montez Ford Jey Uso match, even Miz versus AJ Styles. There was like one after the other of like really good stuff on this show. The Theory John Cena interaction, John Cena's mic work, like just coming out there and just setting that crowd on fire, getting them so excited. A couple holes in the show where, you know what? I honestly, God, I might have cut the Bianca Belair Carmella thing. If I would cut one thing, that was just atrocious. We didn't even talk about Carmella, but it was just all bad.
No, we don't need to.
It did not look professional at all. And then like half of the main event was pretty good. Then they started rushing and then it got really kind of crummy. There was a lot of good on this show. Like if the goal was to get you excited for Money in the Bank, mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited to see Money in the Bank this Saturday.
Same.
So that's that. All right, everybody, we're going to take off now and get going because, even though we're on summer vacation, we still want to get up early. And
I have work tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Victoria is working too, but I have to watch our daughter. I'm excited. All right. I am going to get going. Oh, full. Let's get what everybody says. Thumbs up. This show, thumbs up. And boy, do they need to start making more matches to get those SummerSlam tickets. Still excited, but to be going, but boy, it's not moving. That's what Andrew Elder says. He is going to SummerSlam, and his birthday is right around that time, the day before. Brett Farmer, thumbs down. The Money in the Bank build is getting boring year in, year out. Money in the Bank needs to go away for a while. Matches were good, but story is suffering because it hinders talent that won't win. I think all the gimmick pay-per-views really need to go away. It's such a cop-out, and it's just like lazy booking and so easy to do. It's like, let's give somebody a briefcase, and then we can just tease that story and just keep doing the same stuff that we've been doing since Edge first won it in 2005. It's really hasn't changed in character whatsoever. But also, like, dump the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, dump Elimination Chamber, use them sparingly, and use them, they'll be used to greater effect if they're not just used as like, oh, well, it's that time of the year, we're going to have Elimination Chamber now, but like, actually build a story and make people want to see that story, and then put them in that kind of match that accentuates it. It shouldn't be about the match, but about the story going into the match. So yes, I do agree with you on these gimmick shows. It's like just bad for me. Corey House, Victoria's and Cena's return and post-Raw, 3 thumbs up. Quentin Walters, Raw was a good show. Post-Raw gets 5 stars. 5 thumbs up. Wow. Thumbs up for Elia. Quentin Walters is very happy to have you back. Thumbs up just from hearing Cena work the crowd, hearing a WWE crowd be excited for once. Randy Torcola, absolutely. Machine Walls, 2 thumbs up. Yep. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. And Twitter, I think, also gives it a thumbs up. 64% thumbs up. 65 actually. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week. Are we back next week? Oh, no, wait. Next week.
No.
Next week, 4th of July.
Yeah, no, we're not.
We're not gonna be
back. No. Sorry.
There will not be any show, but we can count on Victoria for Monday in the Bank post show, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you all on Saturday. Thanks for sticking around with us and hanging out with us on a Monday night. We will see. Well, now it's Tuesday morning over in the East Coast.
Yeah.
We will see you on Saturday for Money in the Bank post show. I'm Mike Tedesco.
I'm Victoria Tedesco.
Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.